Elizabeth Warren wants to bring forward central bank digital currency.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bitcoin is incongruent with a Fed coin.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think she wants to nip this in the bud. She wants to nip crypto and Bitcoin in the bud while we're still like a young and a relatively immature and an organized community. Not to, I love our community, but we're nothing like the banking industry or the energy industry, much bigger, a lot more money, a lot more experience doing this stuff. So I think she's thinking, and I think a lot of the members on the bill think, well, no one cares about crypto. We, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We can sneak this one through. No one's gonna even notice because crypto and they're all thinking about FTX and all that SBF garbage. Everyone, a lot of crazy stuff's happened in DC in the past year with the crypto space.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a part of a plan to bring forth a CBDC in the United States, which obviously would be very problematic to freedom and prosperity for all.
Hey everybody, it's Eri from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and that was Perry-Ann Boring as a guest on Robert Breedlove's channel, talking all things about Elizabeth Warren, the senator in Massachusetts, and her anti-crypto bill. It's strange, however. Yeah, I think it's a really strange take that she has Brad Garlinghouse as a guest speaker at the more than $1,000 a plate benefit dinner in Las Vegas, when Ripple is so serious to facilitate CBDCs. This space is strange. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense to me. The market, as you see, is mixed. There is some retracement across the entire space, with most everything tied to the Bitcoin price action, which is sitting just a little over 61,000 at the time of this recording. The floor, however, seems to be solid at above 60,000. A little industry news: the Vanguard CEO is out under an explanation of retirement. Tim Buckley had 3 decades of distinguished service, and, well, you can't help but speculate that maybe he feels some pressure of not joining the nearly dozen other platforms that opted to promote the Bitcoin ETF. Obviously, a very bad decision, since that Bitcoin spot ETF is the most successful in history. Moving right along, I'm really going to dive into this report. This is Medico, which is the company for digital asset custody that Ripple acquired. And oh gosh, there are 160 some pages. It is just full of so much. I need to take my time and go through it. But I will tell you, it's easy to see why Ripple is focusing on custody, smart contract partners, and tokenization. It far surpasses the scope of cross-border payments. The long-term potential in USD is more than 500 trillion. It's massive. A little bit of community news. This is my NFT, which is part of the white tribe of the Badass Yetis. This is from Chip and Jeff. They are going to be coming to Australia for the XRP Gold Coast 2024, the Wave of Innovation. They're going to be, I'm just sure, the best moderators you could ever wish for. But they have done a big announcement collaboration with Expectar, who is also a sponsor and a presenter. I'm not sure if you know, but if you are into coffee, there's a Badass Yetis brand of coffee with fresh roasted beans. I have tried the Obsidian Bold. It is truly really good. And I'm excited to see what they do as an official launch partner in the beta of Expectar. You don't want to miss this. This took place in a live space, and you're going to learn about how the XRP as a token is involved in the Futureverse ecosystem. First and foremost, you're going to hear it's a gas token inside the root network. It moves value. Secondly, it's a block reward on that network. And 3, it connects to the XRPL liquidity. Number 4, it supports the XLS20 NFTs. which I didn't know until today, that it represents the single largest collection in the world. That was with FIFA. And then the Futureverse team is running full nodes. So you just got to listen to this.
Now, basically, how is XRP as a token, because I know you guys are using it, how is that involved in your ecosystem, and how does the use cases evolve around it?
Yeah, so XRP is the gas token inside of the Root network. So if you're any transaction that happens on the Root network uses XRP, and there's this new kind of terminology within the Ripple team and the leadership within that business called value moving transactions, and what that means is, how is XRP being used to help move value around the world in any kind of value, any kind of use case. And so when someone moves a transaction on the Root network, it consumes XRP, and that means that XRP is being used to move value, irrespective of whether it's happening on mainnet or not. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that XRP is a block reward. So if you stake Root in the Root network, then you can earn XRP as a block reward for doing that. And then the next thing is we bridge to the XRPL mainnet ledger. And so you can bring in XRP from there, and we can also connect to liquidity inside of XRPL, which is really important. It's one of the kind of fundamental reasons why we chose this ecosystem to partner with. And then on top of that, we also support the XLS20 standard natively on the Root network. And so you can use the XLS20 standard on the Root network to create NFTs that are compatible with XRPL. And lastly, we run infrastructure in the XRPL network. We run full nodes to connect our services to. So we're kind of connected to the ecosystem as well.
That is awesome. And by the way, speaking about the XLS20 part, you guys did mint the FIFA World AI Cup? Yeah, around 1.4 million, I think, NFTs, all on the XRP ledger, utilizing the ledger for your use case.
Over 4 million NFTs, actually.
Over 4, see? Yeah, that's amazing.
I think it's the single largest NFT collection in the world, and exists on XRPL because of Futureverse and the Root network. Yeah. It's kind of now providing the opportunity, and I think Crypto Eri kind of first said it when we started chatting with her, to show how XRP can be used in a whole variety of use cases, and to expose new communities who may never have interacted with XRPL or the XRP token, a way to onboard that might be less confrontational or more up their alley. We have every day people are coming and joining this ecosystem and being exposed now to XRP and the XRPL ecosystem through us and through mechanisms that they probably would never have engaged in, if they weren't engaging with us. And so it's a win-win for everyone.
And then taking you out on this video will be all about the Bitcoin sales and how it is just driving the price action. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.
Bitcoin this morning trading just at about 63,000 almost, $62,808. Has now jumped 50% since the start of the year and is nearing its all-time high, with much of that action driven by heavy interest in new spot Bitcoin ETFs. Our next guest helps run one of them. I want to bring in Bitwise Chief Investment Officer Matt Hogan. Good morning to you. When you look at what's been driving this price action on Bitcoin, Matt, how much of this is retail investors investing directly in Bitcoin? How much of it is the ETF? How much of it is institutions in the ETF?
Absolutely. It's a great question. We're seeing enormous demand for the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF and across all of these ETFs. And the answer is it's all of those categories. You're seeing retail investors come into these ETFs. You're seeing hedge funds, you're seeing RIAs or independent financial advisors. I think there's an even bigger wave coming in a few months as we start to see the major wirehouses turn on. But this has been Bitcoin's IPO moment. It's in a new era of price discovery, and I think prices could go substantially higher from here.
Let's talk about where they could go in just a minute, but I just want to go back to this idea of who you think is buying these ETFs, meaning how much of this is retail versus institutions?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when these ETFs first launch, they're not turned on at the major wirehouses, at the major institutions. So the initial demand out of the gate for any ETF, including these, is primarily retail and independent financial advisors and hedge funds. So I think that's the primary driver. That's what we're seeing. Right. But I'll tell you, after this meeting, I'm getting on a plane to go talk to one of the largest institutional consultants in the US about this ETF. So we're going to see that next wave of institutional capital.
You did mention hedge funds, which I will put in sort of an institutional or professional category. In terms of this big move, do you think it's that money that's pushed this, or do you think it's straight retail?
Oh, I think it's both. I think it's both. It's just new demand. If you think about Bitcoin pre the ETFs, there was only a small set of investors who could buy it. Now almost everyone can buy it, and the supply-demand dynamic is just off the hook. There are 30,000 Bitcoin purchased by ETFs this week alone. Bitcoin miners have only created less than 3,000. That's what's driving the price, and it's both hedge funds and retail and that advisor community.
Obviously, you have one of these, so if you say it's going to go up, people will say you're talking your book. But if you were to say it's going to go up, where do you think it's going to go?
Absolutely.
And describe exactly why.
Yeah, sure. At the start of this year, in December, we actually published our 2024 predictions, and we said that Bitcoin would trade to new all-time highs above $80,000 a coin. Based on what we're seeing in our ETF and these other ETFs, I think we have to revise that upwards. It could be 100,000, it could be 200,000, it could be higher than that. There's simply this massive supply-demand dynamic going on, net new demand and a fixed supply, and actually a reduction in new supply coming up in April with the halvening. Sometimes investing is complex, sometimes it's easy. With Bitcoin right now, it's just about supply-demand, and there's too much demand and not enough supply.
When you think about the various ETFs, spot ETFs that are out there, we're talking about a dozen right now. There's been a big question mark about whether that turns into 3 or 4, meaning there's massive consolidation, or they all remain independent, or new players emerge in the field. How do you see it?
You know, I think there'll be 6 or 7 or 8 of these that survive long term. There are 5 that are over $1 billion. We're proud that BITB is among that. We're at about $1.5 billion. So there'll be some consolidation. But make no mistake, these are the most successful ETF launches of all time by a large factor. Our ETF, which is, again, $1.5 billion, is one of the 25 fastest growing ETFs of all time. So there'll be 6 or 7, maybe 8 of these. And then there'll be variations. You'll start to see the ETF ingenuity machine come up with covered call options and other variations on the theme. But this is a big market. I think this is a $100 billion plus category. There's enough room for multiple high quality firms to play in it.